here's the big news that came out of the draft that kind of got buried because it was on day 3, I want to say, but the Niners restructured Christian McCaffrey's contract and created like almost $9-10 million of cap space, and that's not to sign draft picks. They don't have any first-round pick this year. Like, they didn't need this. This is for something they've yet to do. What move do you think is up their sleeve, Larry?
Better be an edge rusher, because this team's not good enough without an edge rusher. You're going to start Cleveland Farrell? You're going to start Austin Bryant? Suddenly Drake Jackson's going from he can't be active to he's your starter. You just
Robert
lost
Beal isn't going to start.
Yeah, Robert Beal, who barely made an impact at Georgia. These guys are now going to start for you. They need a big-time guy. I don't know if it's a trade for a Montez Sweat or a Chase Young, or if it's a free agent signing. I will say this: it sure aligns nicely, the free agent market. I mean, there are a lot of premier edge guys still sitting there. You can have Frank Clark if you want him. You can have Leonard Floyd, who I personally think would be a great choice. There's Ngakoue, who's had 10 sacks a year for basically every year he's been in the league. There's Jadeveon Clowney. You have Jason Pierre-Paul. You've got, there's a number of guys. If you want to go old school, who's the guy who played for the Ravens this last year? Justin Houston.
Oh, yeah.
He's out there. You've got Melvin Ingram, who's out there. They love their South Carolina guys. He's out there. So, there's a bunch of veteran edge rushers that are out there. Unfortunately, despite the fact that we just saw the most, one of the best edge rusher drafts in history, they still need an edge rusher. So, they lost 700 snaps between Ebukam and Amenahue and Jordan Willis. Mm-hmm. And Clelin Ferrell's got 10 sacks in 4 seasons. Austin Bryant is a rotational player strictly. I think you might be able to say the same thing right now about Drake, though I think I've got hope that Drake can be a starter. But
also, is Drake an interior rusher or an edge rusher? I thought he was going to be like an Arden Key type interior tweener rusher. That's what I thought.
I mean, I think he's an edge rusher with strength who can play inside. But he needs to get stronger. I mean, look at Amenahue's upper body and look at Drake's. It's night and day. So, I mean, they lost a lot of talent at defensive end, and they didn't really replace it. So they've got a couple replacement guys, but they're both steps down. I mean, Willis, Amenahue, and Ebukam are better than Austin Bryant, Clelin Ferrell, and Robert Beal.
Yeah.
So where are they not? So how are you going to make up the difference? You better make it up with a Chase Young. I'd make it up with a Montez Sweat. To me, I'd be even willing to trade a pick in next year's draft for Montez Sweat. This is your Super Bowl window. If the Commanders are having cap issues, go steal Montez Sweat. Sweat's been one of the most consistent edge rushers in the game. Probably should have drafted him. You didn't, and now he's potentially out there in a trade. I mean, that's the guy that I'd go get. I'd rather have him than those free agents, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to trade for Montez Sweat. It'd be a good move, but I think the reason they're doing this is I think they're probably going to sign Yannick Ngakoue or someone like that. Maybe there'll be like a bidding war for Yannick Ngakoue. The Niners ultimately will get outbid, but they probably have an offer out to him right now. They probably have a price they can afford, and if he gets more, great for him. But there's going to be someone I would think that they'll sign. I think the reason they waited till now is this comp pick thing. They know they love the comp picks, and if you sign guys before the draft, it affects the comp pick formula. And if you sign after the draft, it doesn't. So signing him now makes all the difference.
Tomorrow is the day.
Tomorrow is the day. So, hey, that's good to know. They could sign Yannick Ngakoue freaking tomorrow. Or someone could. I think there's going to be a second wave of free agency that starts now because teams understand these comp picks are important.
If anybody was trying to push back on you, they shouldn't on this one. Because here's the bottom line on this. The Niners are not just cognizant of the compensatory formula. They live by it. And that's how they wind up with. They
showed the league the blueprint of how to do it. Like they made it a trend.
Yeah, they're very disciplined in how
their whole draft this year was comp picks. Like 70% of their draft was comp picks.
Right. I mean, and it's great. I mean, this is an area where they really. I mean, if they want to say they're ahead of the game, in some ways they are, because I don't think people has been as disciplined as they have been. And there's 3 or 4 different ways they've shown that discipline. But yeah, I would expect that money is earmarked for some edge piece, but it's got to be a starter. They need a starter. What?
Right.
There's no reason to go spend $80 million or whatever you spent on Javon Hargrave and then just have the line slide towards
Cleveland Ferrell,
towards Bosa on that side because you got Cleveland Ferrell as your starter. And I'm not
That's
trying to
the thing.
Cleveland. I like Cleveland, but you need a starter. They need a starting caliber defense.
They will slide the line towards, but if you have Bosa and Hargrave playing next to each other and no real threat opposite them, they're going to slide the line to them, and they're going to get, I mean, it's going to be a lot harder for Hargrave than it was in Philly. Like the whole thing in Philly is that you got 5 threats at all time on that line, and all it takes is one guy to break through. Like right now, the Niners got 2, maybe 3 if Armstead can get it back and stay healthy, but you need a 4th guy. That's what 2019 was, and Cleveland Ferrell isn't that. Drake Jackson hasn't proven to be that. Robert Beal won't be that this year. So, yeah, I'm with you. It's got to be someone. And that's why I think this is good news that they restructured McCaffrey. They seem like they're gearing up.
They all could step up. I mean, I'm not saying that they couldn't, especially the younger guys. Like Beal could step up. You heard Lynch. He said, hey, look, he's best at setting the edge and burning the edge. He's a true 9 technique. He can't play coverage. The guy can't backpedal. Some guys, when they backpedal, they literally fall down, and they're geared to shooting up the field. I mean, they said that about Earl Campbell. Earl, when he backpedals, he falls down. Well, we won't ask him to backpedal.
Also, if you're a pass rusher, like who the hell cares about how you go backwards? I want you going toward the quarterback, not away from the quarterback. I don't care about that skill set. All right.
Well, some defenses, your pass rushers, one guy drops, one guy rushes, and you need to mix it up. But in this wide 9, they don't do that. They shoot up the field. They burn the edge. They set the edge against the run, and everything's about get north-south.
Larry,
quick.
When Vic Fangio was here and he ran a 3-4 with Alden Smith, how much did Alden Smith drop?
Yeah, hardly ever.